Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today we are going to talk about conventional energy source. So here are some introduction about conventional energy source. As we know, energy can be defined as the capacity or ability to perform a job. And energy is one of the most important components of economic infrastructure. This energy source can be classified as conventional and non-conventional energy source. So here are some explanation about conventional energy. Conventional energy sources are natural energy resources which are present in a limited quantity and which have been used for a long time. They are called non-renewable sources because once they are exhausted, they cannot be generated at the speed at which their consumption rate can be sustained. Common examples of conventional energy sources include coal, petroleum, natural gas, and electricity. So, as oil and gas is one of the conventional energy source, it keeps the nation transport networks moving through the manufacture of gasoline, diesel, and aviation fuel, and the cost effectiveness of these fuels is a key component of small business operation. Today, oil is considered to be the most important.
You know what? You just made the list.
Now, we move to the advantage and disadvantage of using oil and gas. The first advantage is oil and gas is an inexpensive source of energy due to large reserve and good accessibility. Most countries in the world have been using oil as their primary source of energy. For example, Arab Saudi was the most country that have a large oil reserve which can produce 10 million barrels per day. Oil prices are higher and give more profits to the country. Furthermore, many technologies have been developed to produce a maximum of oil production, thus the accessibility to get this source is become easier. The second one is, for the natural gas energy benefit of using it is environmentally friendly. Natural gas is cleaner compared with other fuels when it comes to the burning process. With the advanced technology in these days, nitrogen oxide can be removed more efficiently, which is the common pollutant emitted by natural gas. Combustion from natural gas is clean, thus do not leave unsettled ash, soot and bad odors behind. Lastly, oil and gas is commonly used in the industrial. Most of the components in industrial field has been using oil and natural gas because this process is more efficient when we are using it. Oil and natural gas also have a higher density compared with other energy sources. For example, the small amount of natural gas to generate an enormous amount of energy that is necessary for running our machines rather than other energy sources. Now we go to the disadvantages of using oil and gas. The first one is, oil and gas is non-renewable energy and a fast depleting energy source. Nowadays, mankind consumes about 35 billion barrels of oil every year, and it is expected to have a little over 50 years before the oil runs out. Hence, it can affect some countries that have run out the production of oil and natural gas, and more investment is needed for the alternative energy in order to replace the oil and natural. The second one is, oil and gas will release a huge amount of carbon emission. Burning of crude oil will produce carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide, and it will release a heat to the atmosphere and cause the temperature become higher. The world will become hot and the ice will melt and cause some countries sink because the water level keep rising, and the population of mankind will be increased. Lastly, oil and gas is a major cause for water, air and soil pollution. The Deepwater Horizon oil spill accident was the example of water pollution that affect to the environment. This is due to the mishandling of humans to extract the oil. The oil was spilled from the extraction and caused the pollution to the water. Then the water become oily and black due to the oil that's still produced from underground. And many aquatic species has been dead or extinct, and some of it have become a mutation.
David Banks, Deepwater Horizon has exploded and is on fire. oil and gas explosion on the environment. First is the water contamination. This usually happens when the chemicals and the oil and gas exploration residues are being discharged into the water, which are usually used by the people living for their water resources. And second is the thermal pollution. This happens when the residues discharged are having higher temperature than the standard. And that is the noise pollution, which is caused by the equipment and operations. This could happen when usually located near the neighborhood. The neighborhood could experience noise pollution when they could hear the loud noises of mechanical equipment when they live near the plant. And fourth is the particulate emissions. This happens when the chemical discharge that are usually harmful for the humans, and their discharge being unfiltered, so they could make the acid rain and affects the global warming greenhouse gases. And next is the effects on the politics. The government could invest in infrastructure. This is because the government gain taxes and royalty from the company that uses the natural resources for oil and gas exploration, so they can invest more in infrastructure for the citizen users. And next, they can strengthen the defense and military in the countries. They can use the taxes and the royalty they gain from the company that uses the nation's resource. Next, the higher oil price could improve political stability. This happens when between two countries, which is the importing and the exporting countries. Between the two countries, they will gain more trust of the importing and exporting country. And lastly is maintaining the stability. When a country have their own resources, they have the stability to maintain in its own country, where they do not have to import another resources when they have their own resources.
Development and production gives good impacts such as new business opportunities, where the oil and gas sector purchases and goods and services from other industries, thereby building transferable skills such as creating growth capacity in the community. On a peer employee basis, the oil and gas industry is a high output, high wage industry that has a multiplier effect on local economies. In addition to generating thousands of direct jobs and wages, the rate of unemployment can be decreased. The further good impact is the taxes are paid to government funds. The government could enhance the country's economy. Membership and donations made to local initiatives and organizations can also benefit them. Now, we move to the bad impacts. Oil and gas price hike caused by high demand and low supply. Demand for oil and gas follow a predictable seasonal. Demand rises in the spring and summer due to increased driving costs and vacation. A marked rise in oil prices will contribute to a higher inflation level, where prices of goods and services increase. This is because transport costs will rise, leading to higher prices for many goods. A decline in oil prices is beneficial to all exporters due to quantity effect and outweighs the price pressure. Oil and gas impacts to social. First, we discuss about the bad impacts. The exploration and drilling process of oil and gas causes communities' health and safety. The drilling produces noise, vibration, dust creation, vehicular movement, emissions, and makes low air quality. The community who live near oil and gas exploration sites suffer and move to another town. Furthermore, some workers suffer from contract basis project work, where they have to find new job again after a project finished. If there is low demand of oil and gas, supply will be lower and there will be no new job needs at the moment.
This presentation is brought to you by Group A, Syahidan, Aqmar, Shentamil, Ainis, and me, Khairun Nas.